Hi, my name is Noel Davis with World Composting, and today we're going to take a look at our urban worm bag that has the African night crawlers in it. It's been 23 days since our last update, and while last time I think we did add some food, we're probably going to add some this time, and with the temperature starting to drop in my area, I'm going to have to start adding food for that heat, that kind of like hot composting that sort of starts happening, to just try to keep it warmer above this 70-degree mark, because otherwise it'll drop down into the 60s in my basement, and I'm worried about these worms kind of going into a state where they just don't do anything and they eventually die off. So we're going to try to keep it warm. We're going to try to add food. Even though it's going to be frozen, it's going to heat up, which I've noticed with my bag systems. When I add a lot of food, that food does heat up, even though it's frozen at first. So this time we're going to take a look at the system. We're going to see how the worms are doing. Hopefully they're still doing as good as they were last time. We're going to add probably some more water to the system, maybe some cardboard, although I don't have any soaking right now. I figure we're going to add food and maybe some dry cardboard, or so we can spray it down with some water. But we're going to go from there and see how the system is doing. So with that, let's take a look at our urban worm bag and our African night crawlers. All right, as I said, it's been 23 days since our last update. Let's go ahead and open this up and take a look and see how it's doing. Got some spiders on the outside here. Not surprising in my basement lately. Very, very dry on top. No moisture on this lid at all. And it looks pretty dry on that cardboard. I'm going to go ahead and put on my glove. And we'll start digging through here and just take a look. So again, yes, this is very, very dry. So we're going to go ahead and move this out. I'm going to bend this in half, though, to sort of hold in all that stuff that's stuck to the side. I'm going to move this out of the way. Find a place to put it down here. There we go. We've got our cloth in here, which is also pretty dry. Ooh, we've got some beets in here still that we threw in here. They have not gone anywhere. They look pretty dry as well. This doesn't look good right now. This looks a little bit too dry. I'm wondering if this 23-day time wait was just too long. You can see some springtails on here. Actually, let me just zoom you in a little bit here. There we go. That's probably a little better. We got some white mold down here. We got some springtails on here that are running around. But the beets are still in here, surprisingly. I really thought that they would be taken care of by the worms. So that just shows that they're really slow on these food. Now, granted, these are not chopped up or anything, but they were frozen at one point. Or actually, no, these were not frozen. So these are sort of really fresh compared to some of the other stuff I've thrown in my systems. But you can see, look at the compost. Actually, this is probably the cocoa coir compost at the bottom here. But let's just dig in here and let's just take a look and see what we can find. You're definitely going to have to add more water to this system. It's definitely way too dry. But this cocoa coir is doing a great job of holding that moisture in. And I did see a worm right over here. If you can see him. Right there. But you can see that there are worms in here still, but I think that this is definitely too dry. Let me just see if I can move some of this stuff out of the way. In fact, I'm wondering if we need to put some plastic back. Here's another worm right over here. These are all African night crawlers. They've got to be. That's all I threw in here. I was very careful not to get anything else. That's also another small worm. Looks a little bit dried out. Let's just dig down here a little bit more. I'm not seeing anything in this section. Got our shirt down here that's been ripped through. Oops, there was a large one. So here's our first large one right here. Again, though, it looks like it's shrinking down. The tail does not look healthy. That's not a good sign. There's not enough moisture in here. And we're going to have to add some more moisture, a lot more moisture to this system. Here's one of the, it fell down over there maybe. So as we get down here, let's just see if there's any more moisture as we get further down. I'm just curious. A little bit, not much more, but we got another, whoops, worm over there. Another one right here. You can see that. Hopefully I'm not putting my head in the way. But again, it does not look like they're very healthy right now. We're really going to have to add more moisture to this system. I think it's drying out too much. I think there might be some moisture down in the bottom here, though. Let's just see. That's my kind of hope. We do have some more moisture down there on the bottom. You can see the different coloration here of the material, hopefully. But you can see it kind of goes very, very light, and it sort of darkens up towards that bottom. There might be some moisture down there. Actually, there's a worm right here. If you can see that little baby worm. So I think that these worms are starting to dry out in here. We're going to have to definitely add a lot of moisture. I think we're going to be dumping moisture in here to try to get this going. I'm going to leave these beets in here. I'm not going to do anything with them. We'll see if those worms will work on them. Let's just go to the other side real quick. Just to see if it's the same thing over here. Excuse me. And it looks like the same thing. It's very, very dry on top. A little bit more moisture down on the bottom. There's a worm right there. But compared to last time where we found a ton of large worms, the worms look a lot smaller. I bet the bigger ones have dug down even deeper. There's another worm right here. So there you go. You can see another one. That's a larger one too. But again, they're very, very dry in here. That's probably not a good thing. It's probably drying them out too much. So we're going to have to get some moisture in here. We're going to have to dump in a lot of moisture, I think, into this system. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cover this. Actually, let's just go ahead and move this out of the way for now. Just like that. And we're going to go ahead and dump some moisture in this system. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab water and just dump it right in. I'm not worried about it coming out the bottom. That can happen in this urban worm bag. I've had it happen before. But I'm not worried about it because I got a container underneath, which will catch any water that drips out. Right now, I just need more moisture for these worms. So, and this is the best way to put it in right now, is just to add a ton of it. The cocoa coir is really good at soaking up water, so I'm not too worried about it. If it starts coming out the bottom, you know, okay, well, that can happen. But the cocoa coir is very, very good at soaking up water. This water, by the way, has my BTI mix in it. So I did just refresh the bucket. I think it was sitting a little bit too long. But here we go. I think that's good on that side. Let me just move this over a little bit. Throw some on this side over here as well. And yes, I am putting a lot on here, but I think this really, really needs it. Because without water, these worms are they're gonna suffer pretty quick. Because worms breathe through their moist skin, and if they don't have moisture, they dry up, they die. They basically, I would think, would suffocate to death at that point. So it's very important for them to have water. So I hear it still moving through the system. I'm not seeing anything come out the bottom, so I'm just going to add one more scoop in here. And you can see it's been soaking into this cloth right here, which actually it looks like has a worm on it. Hold on a second here. I'm just going to pour some more water on here. Get that nice and wet as well. All right, let's put this off to the side real quick. I just want to check on here real quick. That, I think, is a little worm right there. I'm trying to get it in the camera. Look at that little baby worm right there. Actually, there's a couple of them on here. There's another one over here. Is there any more? Yep, there's another one right over here. So there's a lot of baby worms on here, which means that there's got to be cocoons nearby, I would think. So we're going to go ahead and move that off to the side like that. I know I'm not putting in a ton of moisture really compared to what, you know, how dry it looks in here, but we are going to add actually a ton of food because I'm hoping to heat this up, and I'm hoping that heat will also help with this system. So, actually, I'm going to put on a little bit of cardboard over the top of that since there was some worms on there. Yes, this is dry cardboard. We'll put a little bit of dry cardboard on there. I'm not too worried about bugs in this one as much since it's not doing quite as well. We're going to actually add a little bit more water in here. As I said, I didn't have saturated cardboard because I wasn't really planning to put in that much cardboard. But we're going to ahead and throw some more water on here. Just like this. All right, now we're going to go ahead and put in a lot of food. I didn't weigh this beforehand, but we've got a mixture of different stuff here. Primarily, though, coffee grounds. And as I said, we're putting in a lot this time. Why? I want to heat this system up. In the next couple of days, I am going to be checking the other African nightcrawler system and probably dumping that in here as well, or at least one of them. So this has a mixture of food in it. What I'm hoping is that that hot composting action will heat this up a little bit, get some of the moisture back in here, get some of the heat, get the worms activated again. So I'm not even going to really spread this out quite as much. Well, I can't even break it apart really. I thought I broke it apart before I put it in there. But there's a lot of coffee grounds in here and a lot of tea. That should really get the hot composting going. Now what we need to do is I'm going to cover this up with some of this cardboard that we had. We might get some stuff growing in here too. That's perfectly fine. But just to kind of cover that up a little bit, I'm going to add a little bit of water right to the top there. Just like that. And then the last thing we're going to do is I'm going to put our cardboard box that we had right on top of that. Now, this one has already leaked through. If you can't see there, it's already leaked through. But normally what I could do with this is sort of make a pocket here to hold some water and have it slowly leak into the system, which is what I think I'm still going to do. I'm going to do it in this corner over here in the top side. And what that'll do is it'll just slowly soak into this cardboard and then leak into the system as well. So we can do that in both that corner and that corner, I think. We'll see. Oh, that corner, that other corner is running out pretty quick. But oh well, we'll see. Either way, we just need to get more moisture in this system. Actually, what I can do is I can also spray the system a little bit, just to kind of get a little bit more moisture around the sides. It'll run down, but these dry areas that'll soak up water or allow the water to sit somewhere else is perfect to just kind of get more water in the system that's not going to move around. Or at least it has more places to go, or less places to go, I guess, so it's not just drying out really quickly and spreading out. So there we go. Now, as I said, I might be adding the other system to this, or at least one of my African nightcrawler systems. You know, I've got one of my systems. Actually, let me just grab it, pull it over here. This one right here. I might be adding this one to the system soon. It hasn't been doing great. I'm worried about it just dying off with the heat, or the cold temperatures, for it not being hot enough, I should say. And I figure if I add it to here, this will concentrate more worms in here, but at the same time give some place for those worms to go where I can add food like this, have it heat up, have them in here, and then build this up so that way I can get just a ton of food on top, and every like 2 weeks or 1 week add a ton of food, ton of paper, get it heated up, and keep these worms alive all winter instead of having the temperatures drop. So just for reference right now, actually, let's just show you right here. This is 70 degrees or 69 degrees. It's dropping a little bit. The bag itself on the side is also 69 degrees. Now, if I were to go to the floor, I don't think I can do that from back here. Well, my hand is like 80 degrees, but let's just see if I can get to the floor here. I can't get to the floor, really. Can I? Yeah, there we go. The floor is about 71 degrees, 72 degrees. So it's warm right now, but it's going to start cooling off very soon. It was already in the 40s this morning. So we're going to go ahead and shut this bin for now. But we're going to continue to add more food to this and try to get this one really humming along with a lot more heat and a lot more moisture to really get it moving. So with it, that's my update for this system. We're probably going to come back pretty soon as I will dump in those other worms. But for right now, that's what it looks like. Hopefully this will heat up. We'll see higher temperatures in the 70s, like mid 70s next time. But we'll see. We'll start to check it out and see if we can keep it warm during this winter. Thank you for watching.